Legendary goat exhibitors, if you have a goat for showmanship, we need you ringside, please. We will be starting here shortly as soon as one of our showmen finishes her poultry class. Also, exhibitors throughout the week, please remember to wear your back numbers. Attention dairy goat exhibitors, we will now be starting your class. FFA and 4-H showmanship, you need to be ringside immediately, please. Attention dairy goat exhibitors, showmanship for FFA and 4-H is now starting. Our judge is Molly Oakley. She is from Laramie, Wyoming. She raises and shows registered boar goats as well as helping with the family dairy herd of Saanens and Nubians. She has been showing at a state and national level for 18 years and judging the last 3 years. Also, thank you to Kelly of Rugged Grace Photography for once again taking pictures of our show. Contestants can find them free on her website or follow her Facebook for a sneak peek. So here we have our FFA and showmanship class. Molly will be looking for cleanliness of the animal, how they do their maneuvers. She will also be asking questions about the scorecard, animal body parts, production. We'd also like to thank our buckle sponsors at this time for FFA Showmanship and 4-H Showmanship. We have Blue Peak as well as Uncle Fred's Catering. Thanks for sponsoring our showmen. Right now, our judges go ahead and having the kids doing maneuvers to make sure that they understand how to do the maneuvers in the ring and how to show their goats. This is on. We have a round of applause for our FFA showman out here. All three of these kids did a really great job exhibiting their animals. They all had great eye contact as we're moving about the ring, making sure they're leaving proper spacing between the other animals and making sure keeping these animals presented to the best of their ability, never blocking my view of them. Just start off with the young lady with the Toggenburg. She just is more consistent in how this doe is set. She always has those feet right underneath her, keeping that head up, getting it presented more cleanly, as well as she was the best when I was asking her questions. She was the most knowledgeable about her doe, as well as about the industry and disqualifications for her breed, as well as for the other breeds. The young lady that's in second did a great job getting her goat presented. I do wish we could be a little more efficient getting them done. We kind of fought with our doe a little bit, but she was very knowledgeable about the industry. She knew the disqualifications for her breed, for the other breeds, was able to confidently tell me what she liked about her doe, what she would like to change. We just need to be a little bit more efficient on how we're setting it up. Taking nothing away from the young man that rounds out the class, he does a great job getting this doe presented. She's set square, she's consistent in how she is. I just like us to be a little more confident on knowledge of the industry. We weren't quite as sure in our answers on some of the other breeds and disqualifications, as well as we weren't quite using dairy terms while describing our doe. We're still very knowledgeable about our doe and about some of the other breeds. We just could fine tune our skills a little bit. Attention dairy goat exhibitors, congratulations to our FFA showmanship. We now need 4-H showmanship to the ring, please. We need you to the ring immediately. And we will be doing senior and intermediate 4-H showmanship together. Also, please make sure that you are wearing your back numbers. They are required. So due to a small class, we will be running intermediates and juniors together so that the judge can perform maneuvers with the kids. But they will be scored separately.
right, folks, it's time for a few goat jokes. How do you stop the goat from charging? Take away his credit card. Why was the goat eating again? Because she could. Why was the goat farmer so wealthy? Because he had a lot of bucks. This is called the down and back maneuver that the judge is having the 4-Hers do right now. There's a specific way of doing this maneuver, and so the judge is checking to make sure that they know the correct way to do it and that they're handling their animals correctly through the whole maneuver.
Attention dairy goods exhibitors, as we finish up our showmanship classes, we will be doing senior dough show next. We will start with Swiss under 2. And then we will do 2 to 4-year-old, and then your 4 plus. Attention junior dairy goat showmanship. I'd also like to thank our buckle sponsors, Blue Peak, Uncle Fred's Catering, Pine Bluff Sinclair, and Linda Heath.
Let's have a round of applause for our senior and our intermediate showmen out here. I have my two senior showmen at the head of the line here. Both, again, did a really great job presenting these animals, watching me as they're moving around the ring. They were pretty consistent in their switching of sides. There was a little bit of difference in our maneuvers on how we were doing them. I would like us to be a little bit smoother, maybe slow down as we're moving these animals. They are dairy, so we don't want them running around the ring. But they're both very consistent and knowledgeable about their projects. Start off with the young lady. She just is a little bit more confident in using these dairy terms to describe her animals. She's very consistent in what she likes and what she'd like to change, as well as she's presenting this animal just a little bit better. She's smoother around the ring, slows her down, and really shows off that femininity and flexibility that she has. Taking nothing away from the young man in second, he gets this doe presented very well once we get her on a standstill. I just like to see him slow down in the ring a little bit, as well as when I'm having them switch positions in the lines. I'd like you to walk in front of the goats closer to me so that we can see that animal as we're moving instead of hiding her behind the line. But two really nice senior showmen. As we go back into our three intermediate showmen here, I start with the young lady with the Toggenburg. She's just more consistent in how this animal is set up. She's keeping those feet and legs underneath them, keeping that head up, as well as when she's on the move, she's very smooth and slow presenting this animal. I would like to see her be a little bit more knowledgeable on maybe what we like about this doe. Try working some of these dairy terms. She's doing very nice with her project. The young lady in second did a good job once we stopped getting this doe set, and she's very, very knowledgeable about the industry, answering all my questions. I just wish we would have this go a little bit more showbroke. He's not cooperating out here, and it's kind of hindering you showing you're not looking quite as smooth because your goat is not wanting to work for you today. Taking nothing away from the young lady in third, she's doing a great job out here trying to get this doe set the best she can. I just wish we'd be a little bit more knowledgeable about some of the breeds, maybe knowing some of the body parts, as well as working on keeping that head more in the correct placement on the move and on the standstill, making sure to keep that collar up underneath the chin so we can really present this animal to the best of their ability.
Attention dairy goat showmen, we now need your senior does, your Swiss under 2, please. Also, please have your 2 to 4 year olds ready. A quick reminder to your dairy goat exhibitors, for your senior doe show classes as well as your junior doe show classes, we will need you to stay around your first and second place for your champions.
A really nice single entry we have out here with this yearling first freshener. I really commend her for her dairy strength. She's super long and lean in that neck, showing us correct angulation in that hind leg, as well as being very open in that rib cage. I would like to change her a little bit, especially in that top line. I'd like to level her up between those hooks and pins, maybe smooth her out in some of her blending. But I really do appreciate this doe's mammary system too. She's not quite as capacious as I would like to see today, but when you get behind her, she's super high and wide in that rear udder attachment. She's smooth in that fore udder. It was a really nice doe for this young lady.
Attention dairy goat exhibitors, we now need your 2 to 4 year old Swiss breeds and then your 4+ year olds. Nubian and La Manchas, we also need you to be getting ready, please.
Another single entry out here, and doe that I really love for her general appearance. She's super long and level over that top line, smoothly blended in all her transitions, as well as showing us a great amount of body capacity. She's super open in that front end, deep in that barrel, showing us a nice wedge shape going into that third. I think where this doe really excels is that mammary system. She's super high and wide in that rear udder attachment, strong in those lateral attachments, as well as being super capacious and holds that udder really tight up to her body. I would like to smooth her out in that fore udder. She's not quite as full and as extended I would like to see, as well as I'd like to see a little bit more balance and symmetry between the two halves, but this is a very, very nice doe.
Attention dairy goat exhibitors, we now need your 4+ year olds. We will also be selecting your champions, so if you were first or second in your class, we will also need you back in the ring. Your Swiss breeds are going to be your Togs and your Sonnens, Alpines. Next, we're going to need Nubians and La Manchas. Nubian and La Mancha exhibitors, we will need you ringside, please. Also, please start getting your minis ready.
Another single entry out here in doe that I really like for her general appearance in her own right. She's super lean and extended in that front end, smoothly blended. I also really appreciate her body capacity. She's showing us a great amount of depth going into that barrel, into her rear third, as well as being very open in that rib cage. I would like to change her a little bit. I question her structural correctness. She's a little soft on those pasterns as she's moving about the ring. Not quite as true as at where she's setting down her feet, but very nice doe for this young man. So we bring our 3 single entries out here for the drive for the Swiss breed. I think there's a lot of similarities and a lot of comparisons between these does. They're all very strong in their general appearance, being strong in that top line, smoothly blended in the front. There's one out here that I just think really takes it pretty easily. She excels in that mammary system, being super capacious, showing us a great 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 when viewing her from the side. You get behind her, and she's showing us the greatest strength in that attachment, holding the udder tightest up to her body. It's not perfect. I would like to change it a little bit in that forudder, but our 3-year-old will be the champion. Do I do a reserve for this breed? Please, all 3? Okay. I think it's a little closer when we're comparing our yearling to our age doe. And I think just purely for the strength in the mammary system, she's a little bit showing us a better shape to that, having more balance between the 2 halves, as well as being a little bit better attached. Our yearling will be a reserve. That's taking nothing away from the Alpine, our age doe. She's one who really excels in that body capacity, super maternal in the way she's made, deep in that barrel, showing us a really great profile. She's just lacking in that mammary system for me today.
Okay, Nubian and La Mancha 2 to 4-year-olds. We need you to the ring, please. Mini under 2, we need you also to head towards the ring, please.
Single entry for La Mancha's out here, and this is a doe that I love for her general appearance and structural correctness. She runs really uphill, being slightly taller in those withers. She's long and extended in that front end, smoothly blended. As you watch her on the move, she's very sound as she's going down. She sets those feet and legs straight underneath her. She's up on her pasterns. I would like to see her change her a little bit in that mammary system. She's not showing us very much of a mammary system today. I wish she was a little bit more capacious so that we could judge her a little more as she is a milking doe. It's a very, very nice doe.
Okay, Minnie's under the age of 2. I need you to the ring, please. I will also need your 2 to 4-year-olds.
Let's bring out this Nubian appearing doe. This is one that I really appreciate for her mammary system in her own right. It's a very well-shaped mammary system, showing us that balance and symmetry between the two halves, as well as having great attachments both in the fore and the rear. I do wish we could see it more in milk today so we could really see that capacity and see how her production is. As well as I do appreciate this doe in her own right for her general appearance. I'd like to level her out in that top line a little bit. She's not quite as smooth in that loin attachment. I'd like to level her between those hooks and pins. But still a very structurally sound doe and a nice one to win this class.
All first place Nubian and La Manchas, we are going to need you to come back for, or I'm sorry, for minis, we will need you to come back for champion. We will need all first and second places back for best senior doe, please.
A really nice single entry we have out here. A doe that I love for her dairy strength and her general appearance. She's super long and extended in that front end. She's level over that top line, showing us a great body capacity, being super deep in that barrel, open in that chest floor. We get behind her and look at this mammary system. She's very high and wide in those rear udder attachments. She's smooth in that fore udder. She has great balance and symmetry between the two halves. I would like to change her a little bit in some of that teat size. They're just a little not quite symmetrical between the two halves of those. But this is a very, very nice doe for this young lady. So we bring both these does out here to compare them for the division. I think there's one that just wins it pretty handily. She's so good in that body capacity, showing us a lot of maternal shape and how she is. She's more structurally sound, being smoother blended, setting down a little truer when you're watching her on the move, as well as showing us that strength in the mammary system. She's very well attached, holding that udder tight to her body, showing us great capacity. So our older doe will be our champion, and our younger one will be the reserve.
Okay, I now need all first place senior does back to the ring, please, so that we can select best senior doe. I need the champions for each breed back for senior doe, please.
In the ring now, we have our breed champions from each breed section, and the judge is comparing them to choose our best senior doe in show.
We have 3 really, really nice does out here for our drive. We have our Swiss type. That's one that just really excels in that dairy strength and general appearance. She's very feminine in that neck and front end, showing us great angulation in that hind leg, as well as still having great body capacity, having a very maternal shape to her. And she really excels in that mammary system, being high and wide in that rear udder attachment, showing us great balance and symmetry and capacity. Would like to smooth her up a little bit in that fore udder, maybe level her up a little bit from hooks to pins, so it's a very nice doe. Then we have our La Mancha type out here. Another one that really excels in general appearance. She's super extended in that front end, long and level over that top, really wide from thoroughs to thoroughs. I just wish she was showing us more of a mammary system today. She's not quite as capacious and not showing us that potential as a dairy animal. Then we have our Nubian type, which is a doe that I love for her body capacity. You can look at her in the profile. She's super deep in that barrel. Gives us a nice wedge shape going into that rear third, as well as being very strong in that mammary system. She's high and wide in that rear udder attachment, showing us a great fore udder attachment being full and extended there. She's just not quite as capacious as I would like to see her today. That being said, I think our Swiss type is going to be our champion just for her strength in that mammary system. She's showing us the most capacity, the most longevity, and most structural correctness out of this lineup today.
Our next class is going to be the best udder in show. Each exhibitor can choose their best animal from their herd, and they can bring it in to present to the judge for selection of best udder in show.
We have this pair of does out here to compare them for best udder. I think both of these does really excel in that mammary system. They're both high and wide in that rear udder, showing us a great medial suspensory ligament, great attachment. They're both pretty balanced and symmetrical between the two halves. I think there's one that just really excels in that capacity. She's truly showing us what it is to be a dairy animal. She's very full today, but still having that great attachment on the lateral and the rear udder. I would like to change her, as I've said, in that fore udder a little bit. I think she just really overpowers the other one in here, so our Swiss type will be the champion and the Nubian will be the reserve.
Congratulations, exhibitors. Our next class is going to be quick draw. This is a milking competition. So we'll give the exhibitors a couple minutes to bring their stanchions and milk buckets to the ring. This is a really fun competition. We time the kids while they're milking, and the kid that milks the fastest, gets the most milk out within the time limit, is the winner of this class. So maybe we can get a little bit of help from parents and siblings to bring stanchions into the ring. We have 2 exhibitors in this class. So here are some of the rules to our quick draw milking competition. We can have assistants to hold the animal, to keep it on the stanchion or on the ground. You can have someone helping you hold the bucket, but you cannot have somebody actually milking the goat. Only the exhibitor can milk the goat. The exhibitor will milk the goat for 1 minute while the judge times it, and then we will weigh the milk in our scale up here at the table. And the exhibitor that is able to extract the most milk will be the winner. Looks like our exhibitors are almost ready to begin their quick draw milking competition. Once we get the heads up from the judge, she will give you a countdown. She'll time you for 1 minute, and when she says stop, you stop milking, and then we will weigh the milk.
Ready? Go. Thirty seconds left. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are now weighing Sadie's milk. We have 2 pounds even. Way to go, Sadie. Now we will weigh Brooklyn's milk. Don't waste the drop. £2 even. We have a tie. Put it in my bucket and we'll go dump it. Okay. Hava, can you go dump the milk? Do you guys need the milk? Are you keeping the milk? You're not keeping the milk? Are you keeping your milk?
We're gonna have you guys do it again because you guys tied.
But do you need to keep the milk? Do you have a bucket we can put it in, an extra one? You don't need it. Okay. So because we have a tie, we are going to have the girls milk another minute. And we justify this because after milking really fast for a minute, your hands are sore. So now they have to milk another minute with sore hands. So we are going to dispose of their first batch of milk and see who can hold up another minute.
You guys ready for take 2?
Can we get someone to help Brooklyn with the back legs on her dough so she doesn't have to struggle all by herself, please? Thank you.
Ready? Go. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, we are going to get a weight for Sadie's milk. 1 pound, 75 ounces. A little bit less than her first go around, probably due to tired hands. Now we will weigh Brooklyn's milk. £1 pound, 85 ounces. Our winner is Brooklyn. Way to go, girls. Now we're going to take a short break from our show so that these girls can get their stanchions moved back. They can finish milking out their does if they want to. And then we will begin our junior doe show. Okay, so while we are waiting for our exhibitors to milk out and prepare their junior does, we need a few more goat jokes. So, what music was played at the wedding of the owl and the goat? Apparently, they had a hootenanny. What did the balding goat say as he looked in the mirror? I wish I had mohair. And my favorite, why don't milk goats remember things that you tell them? Because everything goes in one ear and out the udder. Attention exhibitors, we will start the Junior Doe show at 11:45. This is your 3-minute call. Please be getting your Junior Does to ringside. Attention in the barn. Do we have all of our junior does at ringside? Our judge is ready to begin our junior doe show. Our first class will be the Swiss Junior Kid class. We have 3 entries, I believe.
Nice pair of does out here for our Swiss type does. She usually start off with the Toggenburg appearing doe. She just really puts it all together. She's really strong in that general appearance, being level over the top, structurally sound. She's really smooth and extended in that front end, as well as showing us a great amount of body depth and capacity for her age. She's super deep in that barrel, open in that forerib. When you get behind her, I really appreciate that openness in the discussion. She's super high and wide in there. She's got a lot of width between those hocks. There's a lot of space for a mammary system in the future. It's taking nothing away from our alpine doe back here. She's showing us a little bit more maturity than the one ahead of her. She's a little bit taller, runs a little more uphill in those withers. She's just not quite as smoothly blended as the one ahead of her. She's a little coarser in the way that shoulder's made, not quite as smooth in that hip and loin junction. When you get behind her, she's not showing us as much width. She's not as naturally wide at the ground between those hocks, as well as being a little bit more pinched in that discussion than the one ahead of her.
Congratulations, exhibitors. Our next class will be the mini doe kids. These will be the mini Nubians or Nigerian dwarfs.
another nice little pair of does we got out here. These two are very similar in their type and kind. They're both structurally sound. Set those feet and legs down right underneath them as they're moving about the ring. I went with the one that's just showing a little bit more maturity. She's a little deeper in that barrel, showing us a little more body capacity. As well as when you get behind her, she's showing us more natural width between those hocks and in that escutcheon. It's taking nothing away from the one in second that I really appreciate for her general appearance. She's super long and level over that top. She's very structurally sound. She's true in where she puts those feet down. She's just not quite as mature. She's not showing us as much body depth and body capacity, as well as not being as open in that rib as the one ahead of her.
Congratulations, exhibitors. Our next class will be the recorded grade doe kids. Recorded grade means that these are mixed breed kids. They can be a cross between any of the other dairy breeds.
Two very similar does we have out here for our recorded class. I'm leading off the one, leaving them as they walked in. The one in front is just a lot more smoother blended as she is. She's a little smoother in that front end, extended in that neck, as well as showing us more body capacity. She's deeper in that barrel, more opened up in that chest. You get behind her, she's showing us more natural width in that escutcheon. I do grant a little bit of structural correctness to the one behind her. The one in second's a little truer tracking as we watch her on the move. She sets those feet down a little more square. I just would like to see her be a little bit leveler over the top line, especially from those hooks to pin. She's not quite as smooth in her transition as the one ahead of her, but a very nice pair of does.
Congratulations, exhibitors. Now we will bring in the champions from each breed class to choose our best junior doe in show. Please bring in the champions from each breed class. So these are our champions from each breed class. At the head of the line, you have a Toggenburg doeling. Following her is our recorded grade doeling. And then bringing up the rear is our mini Nubian doeling.
We have three really nice does out here, representing each of their divisions really nice. I think there's one that just really excels over everyone else. She's very dairy and feminine in the way she's built, showing us great body capacity for her age. And when you get behind her, she is the most naturally open. She's super high and wide in that escutcheon, showing us the most natural width between those hocks. That'll be my Swiss type doe. As we look at reserve, it gets a little bit closer. I think there's one that, again, she's just showing us more maturity. There's more body depth, more openness in that front end, openness in the rib. So that'll be our recorded grade for reserve.
Congratulations, exhibitors. That was the end of our junior doe show. Now we will move right into our buck show. We need our Swiss type buck kid, please, exhibited by Sadie. The judge has requested that we run the bucks together. So we need our Swiss type buck and our mini buck in the ring together, please.
We have two bucks out here. Each we're single entries, so we're just running them together. We have our mini type one that I really appreciate for his structural correctness. He's really smooth in all of his transitions. He set down those feet and legs underneath him. When you get behind him, he's showing us an adequate amount of width. He's just a little tiny baby. I'd really like to see some more maturity behind him, really see how he grows out. Then we have our Swiss type one here that is a very dairy buck. He's very extended and lean and extended in that front end. He's showing us a great amount of body depth, being deep in that barrel. I would like to smooth him up in his transition, specifically that transition from his neck into his withers, make him a little bit smoother. When you get behind him, I appreciate the natural width he's showing. There's a lot of space between those hocks. She's high and wide in that rear escutcheon. It's a really structurally sound, complete bucks. I think there's one that just fits me a little bit better, purely for his maturity. He's showing us not quite of an awkward stage. He's a little bit smoother in his transition, showing us a little bit more openness and body capacity. So my Swiss type will be the grand, and the mini will be the reserve.
Congratulations, exhibitors, on your bucks. Now we have one final dairy class today. That is our dairy herd. The exhibitors are invited to bring senior does, junior does, or bucks to make a group of 4 for their dairy herd. We have 2 exhibitors in this class. I wanted to introduce our Laramie County Fair Ambassador that is helping us today with our Dairy Goat Show. Her name is Catalina Walski. Thank you so much for helping us with the prizes and the encouragement that you give to all of our exhibitors.
A single entry for our dairy herd, and I think this young lady is doing a really great job. You can see a lot of the improvement from our senior doe over here. It's one that was super strong in her general appearance, level over that top line, showing us great body capacity. And you can see that follows through all of these junior kids. They're all very structurally sound, showing us adequate amount of width when you get behind them. As well as on the side, these are all very deep maternal looking does. They're deep in that barrel, open in that chest floor. There's a very consistent, good herd for this young lady.
Congratulations, Sadie, on your dairy herd. That concludes our dairy goat show, but we are going to roll right into our utility goat show. For our utility goat senior doe, we have 1 entry in the 1 year and older. Please bring your doe to the show ring. Our entry is Tegan Durner. So our utility goat show is for animals that are not dairy goats and they're not boer and meat goats. So they can be animals such as cashmeres, angoras, pygmies, Spanish goats, and fainting goats, and any other goat breed that you can think of that is not used typically for dairy or for meat.
We have a single entry out here. This is an old tying goat, which I'm sure when she was smaller and not too big to be thrown around, she probably was pretty good at her job. Something that I appreciate for her structural correctness. She's up on all of her pasterns. She set those feet and legs down underneath her, as well as showing us an adequate amount of width. She's open in that forerib, open when you get behind her. A very nice goat for this young lady.
That was our single entry in our utility goat show, so that is our champion utility doe. Now we'll move into our pet goat competition. Now this competition is for animals that don't qualify to go in other shows. They are wethers. They can be animals with horns. They can be does that are not in milk, so would not be shown in our senior doe show. We have this pet goat competition for these type of animals. We have a single entry today, Tegan, with butterscotch.
Got a single entry for our pet goats out here, and this is another one that's used for tying practice. I think he probably does his job pretty well. He seems like he's pretty chill. He's pretty cute too, so I think he makes a good pet goat. So nice little goat for this lady.
Congratulations, Tegan, with your goat butterscotch. Now we will move into our dress-a-goat contest. This is a costume contest, so we'll give the exhibitors a couple minutes to put their costumes on their animals, and then we will invite Sadie and Brooklyn to bring your dress-a-goats to the ring. Okay, we are ready for our Dress-A-Goat contest. We only have one entry in this contest. Brooklyn, please bring your goat in.
We have our costume contest out here, and we have Little Bo Peep and her sheep, and it's a pretty cute little costume. They used some leftovers from past years for them. The goat does not like wearing the skirt very much, but she's being pretty tolerant. I'm pretty impressed. She was able to walk around in it. So let's have a round of applause for our little costume contest.
Good morning, breeding sheep exhibitors. The show is scheduled to start at 1 p.m. It will start at 1 p.m. unless the dairy goat show runs long. Then it will start 10 minutes after the dairy goat show.
All right, our last contest of the day is the obstacle course. Please have your animals ready at ringside. Our first contestant will be Brooklyn with Faye. I'm sorry, can the exhibitors all come to the ring first to do a walkthrough with the judge, but without your animal? If you can have someone hold your animal at ringside, and all of the exhibitors come into the ring to do a walkthrough with the judge. All right. All of our exhibitors understand the requirements for the obstacle course, so we will start with Sadie and her goat, Lola. Let's have a big round of applause for Sadie and Lola. Good job. Now into the ring is Jude with his goat. What's your goat's name, Jude? And his goat's name is Lola. Come on in, Jude. Congratulations, Jude and Lola. Well done. 2 minutes and 24 seconds. We'll take just a minute to reset our course, and then we will have our next exhibitor. All right, our next exhibitor is Brooklyn. Come on into the ring, Brooklyn. Good job, Brooklyn. Well done. All right, our next exhibitor will be Tegan Derner. Tegan is showing butterscotch. notice we have some bonus points going on right before our eyes. Well done, Tegan. All right, as we get our obstacle course set up for our final entry, we will have Tegan again, this time with Nellie. Congratulations, Tegan. No goat tying this time. All right, we're just going to take a couple of minutes to total our points. The exhibitors can stand by and come back into the ring to receive your awards in just a few minutes, please. Exhibitors for the obstacle course, please come back into the ring and the judge will present your prizes. Jude and Tegan, please come to the ring to receive your obstacle course prizes.
Okay, all y'all did a very good job on the obstacle course. It was very entertaining for me to watch. So you guys, on our scorecard, we have a pass, partial, pass, and fail. So if you passed it, you got 2 points. If you partially did it, you got 1 point. And if you failed, you got 0. And so there was 9 different obstacles. I added points if you balanced a duck on your goat's head. And I also added points if you got more than 2 feet on the stool for your goats. So in first place with 20 points with an added balancing of the duck on your head and 3 out of 4 legs is Sadie. Here's your scorecard if you want to see what you did. In second place with 19 total points, we had an added point for a duck, added point for 4 feet on our stool, and then an added point for the fancy little goat tie at the end is Tegan with butterscotch. In third, with 15.5 points, we had an added point for the duck, but we did have to subtract 0.5 points because your goat tried to eat the tree. So Jude. Next, we have, with 15 points, we had no duck balancing on the head, unfortunately, and we got 1 out of 4 feet, so we didn't get an extra point on that. Still a very good job is Brooklyn. And then rounding us out with 14 total points, with an added point for the duck, but there was a couple not fully passes because we did not like some of our obstacles, is Tegan with Nellie.
Congratulations, exhibitors. Excellent job today. Before we wrap up our show, I'd like to thank our judge, Molly Oakley. Thank you so much. I would like to thank all of our ring stewards and our bookkeepers and our ambassador and all of the extra help that we had today. If there's any strong young individuals that would like to help us clear the obstacle course so it is not in the way for the sheep show, please stick around and help us out. Thank you so much.